Hi, my name is Anthony Chirico, and welcome to this advanced topic on acceptance sampling. Today we're going to be talking about the differences between the binomial distribution and the hypergeometric distribution. There are some common misconceptions about when to use which procedure, and we'll clear that up in this video. AS 9138 was released in January 2018. And it elevated the importance of the hypergeometric distribution for isolated lot acceptance, particularly in small lots. So jumping right into this, we take a look at the binomial formula. The most important observation when we look at the formula is that there is no provision for the lot size, which would show as uppercase n. We see the lowercase n, which is the sample size, lowercase x, which is the number of non-conforming units in the sample, p, which is the proportion non-conforming, 1 minus p, which would be the proportion conforming. But there is no provision for lot size. This is because the assumption is that there's an infinite lot size, because the binomial distribution is used for process control. And when you think about a process that has infinite potential, everything that's produced by that process is a sample. The second observation is that P, the proportion nonconforming, is on a continuum. This is not a discrete value, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is a result of process measurement and can take on any value from 0 to 1. So in review, for the binomial distribution, there's an infinite lot size. P is on a continuum, and it's not a discrete value. Binomial is used for process control. Next, we'll have a look at the hypergeometric distribution. The most important thing to notice here is that there is provision for the lot size, uppercase n. And secondly, you'll notice that this is not on a continuum. These are all integer values. Uppercase M, the number of non-conforming units in the lot. Lowercase x, the number of non-conforming units in the sample. Lowercase n, of course, is sample size. So the inputs to this formula are all integer discrete values. The output is consumer risk, or the probability of acceptance. It has the illusion of being on a continuum, but the inputs are discrete values. The output is not on a continuum, even though it appears to be. So to summarize, the hypergeometric distribution is used for making judgments about isolated lots. It uses a definite finite lot size, and all the inputs are discrete units. So now for some of the more subtle fine points in these two distributions. When the lot size is greater than 100, the hypergeometric distribution will converge onto the binomial distribution. And at lot size of 100, the margin of error between the two is about 5%. So to illustrate this, I've drawn a little diagram for you. You'll notice a gray or black horizontal line at the top of this graph. That's the binomial calculation for probability of acceptance using a sample size of 13 and a nonconformance rate of 5%. You'll see that that gray line is at 51%, and the x-axis of this graph is lot size. So of course the binomial distribution does not change because there's no provision for lot size, remember. So the probability of acceptance is always 51%. The hypergeometric distribution is shown in the red, and you can see the rapid convergence onto the binomial, when in fact at lot size of 100, which is the point I have identified, the probability of acceptance is very close. It's about 48%. So When the lot size is between, let's say, 50 and 100, the error is about 12%. And below 50, you really should start to think about using exclusively the hypergeometric distribution. So bringing this to life, here we have a sampling plan from AS 9138. This happens to be a 5% equal risk point plan. But take a look in the left-hand column how the lot sizes are segregated, 1 to 10, 11 to 20, 21 to 25, and so on. This will create a little bit of a granularity problem for us. So using those lot sizes, if you have one nonconformance in a lot of 20, that's 5%. 2 in 40, 3 in 60, 4 in 80, 5 in 100, and so on. We can only calculate discrete points. This is not a continuum like the binomial. You cannot have 2.5 nonconforming units. So the way this works is because this is a 5% equal risk point plan, you have 5% nonconforming shown on the x-axis, hits the operating characteristic curve, and you can see there is a 50% probability of acceptance. So let's take this sampling plan a line at a time. Lot size of 1 to 10. If you have one nonconforming unit out of 10, that's 10%. So the calculation is just not possible. So you have to inspect all 10. And this is why the plan reads the way it does. All. The next line, 11 through 20. If you had 1 out of 20, that is 5%. So you can calculate using the hypergeometric that 1 in 20 requires a 10-piece sample in order to give you the 50% probability of acceptance. And you see this in the plan. The sample size is 10. The next line, 21 through 25, if you have one nonconforming unit in 25, this is 4%, not 5%. So this point cannot be calculated in the plan, and so some interpolation has been done between the two adjacent points. And you can see this, the 11 is interpolation between the 10 and the 12. The next line, 26 through 47. Now we know that 2 nonconforming units out of 40 is 5%, so this calculation is possible using the hypergeometric distribution. And we can see the resulting sample size is 12. Now the next line item, 48 through 162. Remember, we're over lot size of 100 now, so the hypergeometric has converged on the binomial. They will give you exactly the same answer. And the answer is a 13-piece sample, regardless of which distribution you decide to use for a calculation. And you can see in the table, 13 is the answer. Finally, we have a category of over 162, and this is kind of an anomaly because actually the answer is 13. This plan maxes out at 13. So there was some human judgment here that said, well, you know, we used 162, had a 13-piece sample, let's make it 14. So this was strictly a human judgment. So I've shown here operating characteristic curves for sample size of 13 with C equals 0. The solid line shown is based on the binomial distribution, and the set of dots closest to that solid line is a hypergeometric distribution with a lot size of 50, and the second set of dots further away is the hypergeometric distribution with a lot size of 20. So the important point, the important takeaway here is that the binomial distribution will always be the limiting case. The hypergeometric distribution, its operating characteristic curve will always fall inside the binomial, and you can see in this particular case, even at lot size of 50, how close the hypergeometric distribution is to the binomial. In the chart, you see the hypergeometric shown as a bunch of dots because it is not a continuum. Somebody would just be connecting those points. It's discrete values. The hypergeometric distribution can be your friend. It will come in very handy for small lot sizes, less than 100, certainly less than 50 or 20, and will allow you the latitude of a smaller calculated sample size. So in closing, I would say it is most important and fundamental to remember what it is you're trying to do. If you're trying to truly do process control and evaluate a process, take corrective action on a process when it's necessary, you want to use the binomial distribution because it has no assumption about lot size. It is judging the process and not the lot. If you're trying to make isolated decisions about lot acceptance without any connectivity between these lots, you want to use the hypergeometric distribution. So next time I'd like to talk to you about a very important function called the Poisson Distribution. It's extremely important for people who are manufacturing complex parts. So until then, have fun sampling, and I'll see you next time.